Lucan, West County Dublin. It still looks like the picturesque, rustic village it once was. But that's deceptive. This pretty little village is now the centre of fast-growing Dublin suburbia. Too fast for some. Too fast for the residents of Hillcrest Estate at Doddsborough, just outside the village. There are over 750 newly built houses in Hillcrest, with plenty of mud and few amenities, and they're fighting hard to stop a plan for a massive 800 more alongside. And that's not all they object to.
This association totally rejects this plan by Stein Investment. It rejects their attitude to this association. It rejects the answers it has received, as the answers we've received are in no way compatible to the research and evidence that has produced itself. We find it quite extraordinary that 2 former directors resigned, that a present director denies he's anything to do with it, or that he sold his land, despite the fact that he is a director since the 1st of February. We don't object to anybody living up beside us, provided, and I'm sure they would agree with us when they live there, that they live in a proper environment and that we have a say in that development.
Tony Kelly, chairman of Hillcrest Residents Association.
What's the ultimate, as regards our protest against this estate,
They're determined to stop or change a plan which would double the size of their estate and, as they see it, double their problems. A plan by a company called Stein Investments, which they say won't come into the open. A plan which has twice been rejected by Dublin County Council and is now before the Planning Appeals Board.
The area involved initially is all this here. That's right behind Doddsborough and Hillcrest.
But the Appeals Board could override such zoning decisions and grant Stein Investments outline planning permission.
And taking the lack of facilities we have and now the prospect of 800 houses, it's an unbelievable prospect to think of adding 800 houses to our estate with a tremendous lack of facilities.
Cottage Stores, relic of bygone village days, is now the only shop serving all of Hillcrest and more besides. Mud and plans are all that exist of the proposed shopping centre. As for the National School, it's a temporary prefab, partly paid for by the residents, and it's their church too. That's why the Residents Association want to meet Stein Investments about their plan for 800 more houses. But the residents say that for several months they've been unable to even find out who Stein Investments are.
Nobody is willing to say that they have any connection with the company. The former directors of the company, 2 directors resigned from the company. They did not know or tell us who the new directors were.
When the plan was first submitted to Dublin County Council last October, it was in the name of Spine Investment Company. Not Stein, but Spine. An application to the County Council by a company that never existed. Architect and property consultant William White made the formal application, and he explains the mistake.
Yes, I must say that it was a mistake on my behalf, on my own behalf. I got a telephone communication to lodge an application on behalf of Stein Investment, but I took up the name wrong.
And who did you get the communication from?
From Mr. Conor Crowley of Kennedy and Crowley, accountants of Harcourt House, Harcourt Street.
Stein Investments is a sort of paper company with £100 share capital. Originally it was simply a shelf company, drawn up in the normal way by Stokes Kennedy Crowley, with its own people named as shelf directors. Then it was put on the shelf, so to speak, and later sold to the real owners connected with the stud farm. Normally, at the time of sale, the shelf directors would instantly resign and the real directors take over. In this case, 4 months elapsed between the time the architect was first instructed to apply for planning permission in the name of Stein Investments and last February, when the change of directors took place. Stein Investments then, for several months, had the shelf directors on the files of the company's office, and not the real directors. Hence the Hillcrest residents' problem finding out exactly who Stein was. Principal director today is Captain Tim Rogers, owner of Early Stud Farm. He says there is no mystery about Stein Investments.
Stein Investments is my company, it belongs to me, and I suppose you could say that I am Stein Investment in actual fact, which I've on no occasion have I ever tried to hide from anyone.
Do you accept the possibility or the fact that Stein Investments is simply Captain Rogers himself who owns the land?
I don't accept that, no.
Why not?
Because nobody, as I said at the beginning, has prepared to come out and say to us they're involved in Stein Investment. Therefore, it would appear to me and to my colleagues that there's something to hide in this company.
Well, I think we must have got our lines crossed somewhere. I had one telephone call from a lady who didn't identify herself in any way, and she just said, was I selling my land for building? And I answered no. If she had said that she was on the committee or anything to do with the Hillcrest resident, I would have certainly invited her up to see me and talked about it, but I didn't feel that she was anything to do with anything, and certainly I had no idea she was anything to do with the Hillcrest people.
But you're quite happy to have met them and to meet them?
Certainly, at any time. They've only got to ring me up and come down and see me at any time, day or night. I'm very happy to see them.
We're not against all new houses, say the residents, but they insist that it's at this stage outline planning permission that they must fight.
If outline planning permission is granted for 800 houses, there's no going back on that. 800 houses can be built there, and that is that. It's at this stage of the outline plan that we want to make sure that the density is reduced, and we want to get a committal from Stein Investment as to what exactly is the layout in this area. I mean, the County Council have said that the plan was too vague. We say the same. The representatives have said the same.
Local councillor and senator Brian Lenihan supports the residents.
This particular land was zoned agricultural in the first instance. Now, I don't regard any distinction between stud farm and agricultural as being really relevant to this issue. The main thing is to have open space in all of these residential areas. This is terribly important today if we're going to have a balanced housing development in the county of Dublin.
TD for the area and Minister for Agriculture Mark Clinton is on their side too.
There is no water supply, public water supply available to this area. There is no capacity in the public sewer to take this size of development. The roads as they stand at present are quite inadequate. It would increase the pressures on local schools, on churches, and there is no provision so far in the action plans for this area to give these amenities, these necessary amenities, prior to such a development taking place. I think this is a reasonable attitude for the people to say, look, we bought our houses here in certain circumstances, and we don't want the position disimproved.
Stud farming is big business. This French stallion, called Nono Alco, cost Captain Rogers a cool £1 million. In fact, at the appeals board, Stein Investments will argue that this land zoned for agriculture is in practice something else.
A stud farm is not, to my mind, is not agriculture. It has nothing to do with agriculture, it's to do with breeding of horses. And to my mind, race horses, and that is not, to my mind, agriculture.
First of all, in the plan, in the Dublin plan, the County Dublin plan, that was zoned as for the further development of agriculture. I understand that the people who put in these proposals have contradicted this insofar as they say it's a stud farm. Of course it's a stud farm, but a stud farm, in my view, is also agriculture, and an important part of agriculture.
If the Hillcrest residents lose and Stein Investment win, this land will leap in value. With planning permission, at a conservative estimate, per acre it could be worth...
20 or 30,000 pounds an acre.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, it is.